Welcome to Learning with UNP. In this session of Business Intelligence with Power BI, we will explore an essential feature that enhances data filtering and analysis, slicers. We will also look at two key functionalities, edit interaction and sync slicers, which help control how slicers impact different visuals across multiple pages. For this demonstration, we will use the Maven Market dataset, which contains multiple tables like Maven Market transactions, Maven Market stores, Maven Market regions, Maven Market returns, Maven Market customers, and Maven Market products. We will apply slicers to our previously created charts. Let's get started. Let's begin with understanding what is a slicer in Power BI. A slicer is a visual filtering tool in Power BI that allows users to interactively filter data. Unlike filters applied in the filter pane, slicers are placed directly on the report page, making them more accessible for end users. Third chart in the fifth row is a slicer. Click on it. Now let me explain you what is the use of slicer. Slicers help in quickly filtering data and visuals, allowing users to interactively explore data, enhancing reports by making them more dynamic and user-friendly. Let's go to the previous page. For example, here we have a line and stacked column chart showing total revenue and unique customers over time. Here we can add a slicer for store country. Let me click on the visual. Let's go to store table, drag store country and drop it on the slicer. Let me click on Mexico. So here we can see that the data changed as per the selected filter. So this helps us in analyzing revenue trends for a specific country. Let me unclick it. Hence, this is why slicers are so useful. They allow viewers to explore the data without modifying the report manually. Now that we understand what slicers do, let's explore the different types of slicers in Power BI. Power BI offers different types of slicers to suit various data scenarios. Let's explore them. Let me click on the existing slicer. Let's go to Visualizations pane. Click on Format Your Visual option. Over here, you can see some option called Slicer Settings. Click on it. And we can see a drop down with slicer styles. Click on it. Over here, there are three existing options: vertical list, tile, and drop down. This slicer is called List Slicer. This slicer displays values as a simple list. This list slicer is best for filtering categorical values such as store type, store country, etc. Now let's understand what is a tile slicer. Click on it. As you can see, this is a tile slicer. It displays values as selectable buttons. Let me click on Canada. As you can see, the data changed as per the selected country, that is Canada. Let me unclick on it. Tile slicer is ideal for interactive dashboards where users need quick selection. The third type is drop-down slicer. Click on it. As you can see, this is a drop-down slicer. Let me click on the drop-down arrow and the values are visible here. Drop-down slicer is just like a list slicer but compacts values into a drop-down menu. It saves space by displaying values in a drop-down. This drop-down slicer is useful when we have many values but want a compact slicer. Now let's move on to the next page. Over here we have a blank slicer. In this slicer, let me take a date value. I'll drag date and drop onto the slicer. Let me show you the name of the slicer. If we want to look at the name of the slicer or the style of the slicer, let's go to Visualizations pane. Click on Format Your Visual. Click on Slicer Settings. Click on the Style option. So these are the different types of slicers that are available. As I told before, there are different types of slicers available based on the columns you choose or the data scenarios. So this particular slicer type is called in-between slicer or between slicer. This allows filtering numerical values within a range. This is best for filtering data based on a numerical range such as revenue, profit, etc. Over here, we can drag the start date and end date and select our required range. So this map chart is showing the data as per the selected range. This way we can use between slicer. Let me drag it back. As you can see, we have two options named before and after over here. What does these two options mean? Before and after slicers allow you to filter data based on a range or a specific date or time, enabling interactive exploration of data by time periods or values. These before and after slicers are used for filtering data based on a specific date or numeric value, allowing you to view data either before or after a certain point. Let me click on before and let's see what happens. As you can see, we can look at the data that is before December 30, 1998. Let me click on the style and select after. Now we can see the data after January 1, 1997. So this is how before and after slicers work. Now let's move on to understanding about edit interactions. Usually by default, when we apply a slicer, it filters all visuals on the page. But what if we don't want the slicer to affect certain visuals? Then comes into picture the edit interaction option. Power BI allows us to control how slices affect different visualizations using edit interaction. By default, a slicer filters all visuals in a report, but using edit interaction, we can customize its effect on each chart. Let's see how to use edit interaction. Let's select the date slicer over here. Click on Format option. Over here, you can see an option called Edit Interaction. Click on it. Let me reduce the size of the slicer. Here, there are two small icons visible. This funnel symbol represents filter icon, and this circle with the slash symbol represents no impact icon. If we click on filter icon, the visual will be affected by the slicer. And if we click on no impact icon, the visual remains unchanged by the slicer. Let's see how it works. Let's click on filter icon. Let's select some range in the date slicer. The data has been filtered as per the selected range. Now let me pull back the slicer range. Here let's click on no filter icon. Now let's change the slicer again and check whether it's changing or no. If you can see here, there is no change applied on the visual as we clicked on no filter icon. Hence, this flexibility ensures that we only apply filtering when it is relevant, improving the report's usability. Let's pull the slicer back. Now, let's move on to the next topic, that is sync slicers. Okay, what if we need the same slicer on multiple pages? Instead of manually adding slicers to each page, we can use something called as sync slicers. Let me explain you what is sync slicers. Sync slicers allow us to use the same slicer across multiple report pages, ensuring consistent filtering throughout. For example, let's say we create a date range slicer in this page. Now, we also want it to filter visuals on the remaining pages. Instead of adding it multiple times, we can sync the slicer. Now let's see how to sync slicers. Click on the slicer, click on View, and over here you can see an option called Sync Slicers. Click on it. When you click on Sync Slices option or when you open the Sync Slices panel, you will see a list of all pages in your report along with two important options. This option is called Sync. It controls whether the slicer applies the same filter across multiple pages or no. The second option is called Visible. It controls whether the slicer is visible on that page or no. Over here, it is important to understand Sync and Visible options. There are total 4 cases in which we can understand Sync and Visible options. Let us see how it works. Let me tick the boxes of Sync and Visible and let's see what happens. I tick the boxes in the first page. Let's go to the first page. Let me drag the slicer to this side. If you can see here, the date range slicer which is in the last page is visible here. And let's see whether the sync is applied or no. Let me change the date range in slicer. As you can see, the data is changing as per the selected range. Let me pull it back. Okay, so what is happening here? If both sync and visible are on, the slicer will appear on multiple pages and apply the same filter. Over here, I ticked the boxes only on the first page. So this particular date range slicer is visible and it is interacting in the first page. Let me untick the boxes. Now, the second case is if sync is on but visible is off. Let's see how we can do it. Click on the slicer. Click on sync option in the second page. And also click on the sync option in the last page, that is existing page. So now what are we going to do here? We want this date range slicer to be synced with the visuals on second page, that is KPI page, but it should not be visible over there. So let's go to second page, that is KPIs page. Okay, let's see the initial values. The initial values over here are 833K, 833K, 828K. Now let's go to the last page and select some date range. Let's select some range over here. Now let's go back to the second page and check whether the values are in sync with the date range slicer or no. So yes, as you can see here, the date range slicer is applied to the visuals on this particular page and you can see the values are also changed here. So what is happening here? If sync is on but visible is off, the slicer applies its filter on that page. In our example, it is second page, KPIs page, but users cannot see or interact with the slicer. One important point to be noted here is when you want to work with the second case, that is sync is on but visible is off, you should also tick the box of sync in the page where the slicer is existing. Now let me pull back the slicer and let me untick the boxes. Now, the third case is if sync is off but visible is on. Let's see how it works. Let me tick the box of visible in the third page. Let's go to third page. As you can see here, the date range slicer, which was initially on the last page, that is advanced chart page, is visible in the third page, that is basic charts page. Okay, now let's check whether the slicer in the advanced chart page is in sync with the charts in this basic charts page or no. Let's go to advanced charts page and let's fix some range in the slicer. Now let's see whether the selected range is applied or synced with the visuals in basic charts page or no. As you can see here, there is no change in the charts, which means if sync is off but visible is on, the slicer is independent and does not affect other pages. Let me pull back the slicer over here and let's untick the box. And then the last case is if both sync and visible are off. Okay, now let's go to the previous advanced charts page. Over here, we don't have date range slicer. Let me select some range in this date range slicer. Now I want to check whether this date range slicer is in sync with the visuals in the previous advanced charts page or no. As you can see here, there is no change, which means the fourth option, that is, if both sync and visible are off, the slicer has no effect on that particular page. Let me pull back the slicer. Click Ctrl S to save the changes. Finally, with these techniques, we can create interactive, user-friendly reports that provide deeper insights into our data. This is all about today's lecture. See you in the next lecture. Thank you.
If you have enjoyed these lessons and want to take your learning to the next level, I invite you to join our live Mastering Business Intelligence with Power BI course. In the live sessions, you'll get to interact directly with expert instructors, work on real-time projects, and receive personalized feedback to accelerate your career. Plus, you'll also gain access to exclusive job updates and opportunities through our LMS to help you land your next role. Don't miss out. Spots for the upcoming batches are limited. Visit the link in the resources section for more details.